My first question will not surprise you. It's a simple question. Does Google consider itself a neutral public forum?
Senator, we operate a number of platforms, and they are constructed and operated to be politically neutral or apolitical.
So does Google, the Google search page, let's just focus on that for a moment. Does Google consider the Google search page to be a neutral public forum?
We construct it, we build it, and we operate it to be politically neutral.
Does Google consider YouTube to be a neutral public forum?
Similarly, Senator, we build and construct it, maintain it with our algorithms to be politically neutral.
Mr. Bhatia, I'm going to ask my staff to give you a hard copy of a document that was released recently that we also sent to you ahead of time, so this should not be a surprise. It is a document that at least purports to be authored by Google. The title of the document is The Good Censor. How can Google reassure the world that it protects users from harmful content while still supporting free speech? And it's dated March of 2018. Is this document, in fact, a document that was prepared within Google?
I've seen the document before, Senator. I've seen references to it. I understand that it was, yeah.
Okay. So I want to refer to you, and the copy you have, the only alteration to it is we've written page numbers on it just for ease of reference. So those are handwritten. Other than that, this is identical to what we printed from online. And with no objection, I'm going to enter a copy of this in the record with the notation that we did write page numbers on it. I want to refer you initially to page 14. Or in page 14, this Google document says an important U.S. federal statute from 1996 supports this position of neutrality. And it describes how under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, tech firms have legal immunity from the majority of the content posted on their platforms. This protection has empowered YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and Reddit to create spaces for free speech without fear of legal action. So Google itself understood on the face of this document that Section 230, that immunity is predicated upon, as the title of this page says, neutrality. I'd now like to refer you to page 65 of the document. If you can put this chart up as well. So on page 65 of the document, this Google document says tech firms are performing a balancing act between two incompatible positions. On the one side, create an unmediated marketplace of ideas, 100% commit to the American tradition that prioritizes free speech for democracy, not civility, by creating spaces where all values, including civility norms, are always open for debate. That's on the one side in Google's own assessment. On the other side is create well-ordered spaces for safety and civility, 100% commit to the European tradition that favors dignity over liberty and civility over freedom by censoring, and I will note this is Google's word, censoring, racial and religious hatred even when there's no provocation to violence. Now this Google document lays this out as a balancing act between two incompatible positions, but yet 2 pages later in the document, on page 67, Google concludes, in the eyes of big tech, which side has won out. And indeed, according to Google's document, The Good Censor, Google says tech firms have gradually shifted away from unmediated free speech and towards censorship and moderation. So I guess my first question is this accurate? Does Google engage in, using your own words, censorship and moderation?
So, Senator, at first, just to place this document in context, this was, as I understand it, sort of a thought experiment and sort of a discussion that was underway among our marketing team. It was a marketing document. And it was thinking about sort of this broader tension that exists between, on the one hand, being a forum for free speech, and on the other hand, seeking to introduce certain rules of the road or community guidelines to make sure that the online environment is one that is one that users will want to participate in. And so it was discussing that tension. It is not reflective necessarily of the views of the company as a whole. It is not, it is...
Let me then ask my question again, Mr. Bhatia. Is this document prepared within Google? Is it accurate? Is Google engaged in, and the terms used are censorship and moderation in this context, I understand not to mean being moderate, but rather actively moderating the speech that occurs. Is that in fact what Google is doing, which is censoring and moderating speech on its platform?
So I would not say that we are censoring speech on our platform. In fact, there is a dramatic, there's as I mentioned in my opening remarks, remarkable opportunities for every part of the political spectrum to be able to participate through the online platforms. We do have, for instance, let's take our YouTube platform. We do have community guidelines that precludes, for instance, people from uploading videos that might contain violent extremism, that might contain hate speech that would prescribe or encourage, incite violence against
and let's be
protected
clear, this
minorities.
document also that y'all prepared, you've got the logos, if I'm recognizing them correctly, for Facebook, for Twitter, for Google, and YouTube, all on the side towards censorship and moderation. And in fact, the chart goes on to say, create well-ordered spaces for safety and civility. And then it has three words: politicized, editor, and publisher. Are those accurate descriptions? Is Google or YouTube editors and publishers?
No, sir, Senator, I don't believe we are. And again, I'm not sure the context in which those words were placed up there, but no, we are not.
So this Google document, your position is it's just wrong, then, is that?
My position is that there are many documents that get produced where you task teams to go off and think about what's going on in the ecosystem. I think this document reflects thinking, that's being done by a marketing team.
And in fact, the next page of this slide deck, which I don't think I have in larger form, but I'll read it for you. It's page 68 in the version in front of you. Says, for a long time, we thought of censorship in terms of government and nation states. And I think we're now in an era in which people are starting to realize that private companies, probably more than ever before, control people's ability to amplify their voices and whether or not their speech stays up or comes down. Also what they see and what they can listen to and what they can read. Now, there has been considerable debate, including an argument by the ranking member of this committee just a few minutes ago, that there is no censorship, that no one is engaging in any censorship. This document, and in fact, the quote I just read, I think reflects the concerns of a great many people that Google, a massive company with monopoly power, is choosing whether to amplify people's voices, whether their speech stays up or comes down, what they see, what they can listen to, and what they can read. Do you agree that's in fact what Google's doing?
No, Senator. And this, just to be clear, obviously is not, it's a quote from some third party. It's not somebody at Google.
But no, Google put it in this presentation, so it presumably...
To reflect obviously the discussion that is going out in general in society about whether platforms in general, which have on the one hand in many cases a mission, a goal of trying to be available for free speech, for new voices, for diversity voices to be heard, and on the other hand creating spaces where certain kinds of speech, violent extremist speech as an example, which is clearly potentially damaging and threatening to society and to the community of users, is not permitted. So that's a tension, a natural tension that exists, and I think it's, again, it's not our quote, but it's not an unreasonable thing to expect companies to be thinking about that.
All right, so let me ask the last question, my last question for the first round. You have repeatedly made reference to violent extremism and hate speech. One of the companies that has been demonetized by Google repeatedly is PragerU University. Dennis Prager is sitting here. He will be testifying on the next panel. Mr. Prager is, in my judgment, a highly learned, erudite individual, studied and well thought on a great many issues. And in my experience, I've always found that I learn when listening to Mr. Prager, whether I happen to agree with a particular issue or not. And yet, YouTube actively censors the content Mr. Prager is producing. Is it your view that Mr. Prager is somehow disseminating dangerous ideas or ideas that fit into the buckets you were talking about of violent extremism or hate speech?
No, Senator. Maybe if I can just explain. Mr. Prager is a YouTube success story. Mr. Prager has more than 2 million followers, as I understand it. Mr. Prager's, and all of Mr. Prager's content is available on YouTube, the main YouTube channel. We do have a very small percent of our subscribers who opt for what we call restricted mode. These are mostly institutions like churches or perhaps schools, where there's certain more mature content that they choose not to have access to. Now, this is less than 2% of the overall YouTube watchers, but we do feel it's important to give those institutions that degree of control. There is a small percent of Mr. Prager's overall content, as I understand it, less than a quarter of his content, that is deemed to be in that category of more mature. And so for that very small percentage, they will not have access to Mr. Prager's more mature content. Other than that, it is complete. And just to be clear, this is content, for instance, it may be perfectly acceptable to watch, but for those, perhaps references to violence or war or rape, things like that. So that's the basis.
My understanding, just for the record, is that PragerU has produced 325-minute videos, and that YouTube has censored 56 of them, so roughly 20%. Among those that are censored include a video on the Ten Commandments. Another one censored includes a video on the history of the nation of Israel. The restrictions are purportedly for blocking things like pornography, but apparently in YouTube's world, talking about the Ten Commandments and the nation of Israel is comparable and should be blocked.
Respectfully, Senator, that's not right.
Okay. Please explain.
What I was trying to explain is all of Mr. Prager's, the Ten Commandments, all those are available to 98% of YouTube viewers, 98.5, I believe. 1.5% of our viewers have activated, again, this restricted mode. Churches, schools, maybe libraries that don't want to have their viewers exposed to more mature content. The video, I believe the Ten Commandments video, for instance, contains references to murder and I believe potentially Nazism or World War II, something along those lines. There are other videos that have in that category, in the number that you referenced, 56, whatever it is, that may make reference to rape. That's the reason, but they're not censored. They're available to everybody who's using normal YouTube. They are not available to the small subset who have chosen to activate restricted mode.